So, spawning down in the bottom left-hand position as the teal Zerg player representing Team Acer, none other than Scarlett. And her opponent in the bottom right, from mYi, it is DaNa. This is certainly going to be a very, very awesome game. For those of you just joining me now, this is the ESL Euroseries semi-finals. mYi versus Acer. Winner of this goes on to face off either Mouse or... This is really bad. Mouse or someone else. I think it's... I'm double checking now. Missing in action. It's mYi or Mouse in the other semi-final. That's happening simultaneously, by the way. Currently casted by Loco and Tempo, so you should definitely check that out if you want to see those games. But for the moment, this ZvZ. Not too much going on at the moment. We've got an Overlord just heading up, going scout. Looks like we're going to see DaNa actually get the first scout down, although they're going to know where each other are spawning at very similar times, because Scarlett's Overlord is moving over to the right. They'll bump heads around here. And that's when, straight away, you know what's going to be occurring. In terms of strategy, it would appear that they're going to go slightly different paths. We've got Scarlett going for the hatchery first. Meanwhile, DaNa taking down that spawning pool. So, what does this result in? The first thing is that the Queen and Zergling production will be available sooner for DaNa. It wasn't an early pool, though he has got his second Overlord out, so it's not crazy early. And that means that he's just going to have a couple of additional lava slightly before Scarlett due to the inject from the Queen. That's good. It also means that he's safe. Meanwhile, Scarlett is going to get the second Queen out a little bit quicker, and so we'll be getting a double inject a fraction sooner. And what that means is that longer term, most people would assume Scarlett will be a bit ahead, assuming neither player deals any damage. First interesting thing we've got going down is the gas coming out quite a bit sooner for the pink player for mYi. Not by a huge amount though, but that can make a little difference. The next things that we're going to be keeping an eye out for is whether they keep drones in gas, whether they pull them in order to get more either drone or Zergling production, or whether they keep them in there to get some banelings on the way, to basically get some pressure coming out. So those are things that we've really got to be keeping a close eye on for the moment. Over at Scarlett's base, obviously that spawning pool is nearly finished up. Overlord has been pulled down to the bottom right. To be expected, once you know that your opponent is spawning down there, you will start pulling Overlords just to cover all of the attack path coming through, just so you've got that maximum amount of information about any Zergling move out or any little pushes that could be coming. Of course, ZvZ is a very volatile matchup where it can appear like your opponent is just happily droning and being quite passive, and then suddenly be speedling rushing you with a decent number of lings actually. If you think that if 2 injects have just come out, that's 8 lava, that could be 16 speedlings heading your way, when the previous moment they didn't have any army out in the field. So definitely something to be careful about, be a little cautious of. And that's really why you see Overlord spread becoming very important. And that's one of the reasons why Muta on Muta is quite common, because while Mutalisks are good harassment units, they also give you great map dominance. By taking down the Overlords that are about on the map, you can come in for surprise attacks. And that's even what we're seeing Scarlett do here already, very early on, moving down with that Queen, gonna be forcing DaNa to retreat with this Overlord. Could even get taken out. For the moment, DaNa does not have any Overlords. As a result of DaNa, doesn't have any Zerglings, just these 2 out in the field. So Scarlett gets an early win. Getting that Overlord down will supply block DaNa as well. Very frustrating to have that coming down. But more importantly, Scarlett droning heavily, getting a little way ahead in the drone count, and also getting the lair up significantly sooner. Getting such an early lair down has the key benefit of meaning Mutalisks can come out fast. DaNa moves in with a single Zergling. Doesn't get a very beneficial scout though, doesn't see any gases or anything like that. And interestingly, Scarlett only now taking the second gas, there's the third and fourth coming down. So she'll have enough Vespian, probably with that lair finishing up, in order to get out the Spire within a couple of seconds. They're not going to have very many Mutalisks to produce. Meanwhile, DaNa though, pushing across the map with a good number of Zerglings. 12 out on the field, but there's a complete walled off in place. This is such a smart play by Scarlett. It's allowing her to be completely defended against any Zergling pressure. Even if there are some Banelings coming in, with the Spine Crawlers there, with the double evolution chamber and Baneling nest, no problems. That means that this incredibly early Spire that at absolute minimum will be like 55 seconds ahead of that of DaNa's, it's still great times. So, Scarlett at the moment is in a very strong position. Yes, walled in, but that's just how she wants it, because it's allowing those Mutalisks to start getting out. So DaNa apparently getting a little bit of lag. So is Scarlett. Not too sure what's going on. Scarlett's playing on a cross server, so that's one of the reasons. Meanwhile, we've got some interesting times here for DaNa. Getting down the +1 carapace. Now, the +1 carapace isn't something you often see on ground units, but the key benefit that this gives is it means that Banelings take 2 hits to kill your Zerglings if they don't have any attack upgrades. Clearly, that's a very important upgrade if you are going through a big Speedling play. In Speedling on Speedling fights, the carapace is just as effective as the attack. It makes the same difference. Scarlett getting ready to move out now, taking down this evolution chamber that was purely built in order to get the wall off. And then with some Banelings going to be looking to put a bit of pain. The +1 carapace, not quite done as of yet. The Broodling's also adding in to get a little bit of damage done. Not free damage because an evolution chamber died in the process, but Scarlett now has an exit from her base, and her Spire is about to be finished up. That will signal the start of Mutalisk production. But one thing going in DaNa's favour is the 3rd base timing. This is already half done before Scarlett is even looking to move out to take hers. So while the Mutalisks are on the way out for Scarlett and will no doubt start harassing, there's plenty of time for DaNa to get up a couple of Spore Callers to defend that and catch up. And that's where the 3rd really starts playing its part. These 2 additional Vespian geysers are about 200 more gas per minute. And with that, we should be able to see DaNa pull ahead, or at least level out that Mutalisk count. Even if not initially, hopefully throughout this game. But Scarlett going quite aggressive at the moment. We can see from the supplies, Scarlett is up, most of which is from that army supply, although there is still a 5 drone lead. A couple of Lings going to be pressuring in to DaNa's 3rd. DaNa really needs to keep this up. But with the Mutalisks out, it's going to be challenging to do that. So DaNa running across the map. Unfortunately, this 3rd hatchery taking significant amounts of damage. So rather than going to actually try and defend that, DaNa is looking to go on the offense. Going to try and deal some counter damage as quickly as possible. Running straight in, surrounds the Queen, instantly takes it down. Remember, +1 ground carapace is done for DaNa at the moment. But Scarlett moving back now with those defensive Mutalisks. Just going to start picking off any Lings that could be in there and has been successful in doing so. However, gonna lose a couple of Overlords, but if we take a peek at the Mutalisk count, it's actually equal, which may come as a surprise to some people, since Scarlett had her Spire out so much sooner. But the gas timings were very similar, so by that Zergling counterattack coming in, we saw DaNa actually buy himself a bit of time to get those Mutalisks out, and now the count's going to be relatively similar. The one concern I have for DaNa is the fact that the Spire isn't researching any upgrades. Scarlett has moved in now with a handful of Speedlings, going to try and get a bit of damage done. Going to try and get that Queen, getting very close, will be successful in taking that Queen down. That means no more injects for DaNa, and also levels out the damage that DaNa did on his attack. The problem for DaNa is he's behind now in his 3rd timing after having it sniped off by Scarlett's Speedlings. It was a fantastic play and is definitely going to influence it. If we take a look at the gas income, about 200 gas more a minute being mined by Scarlett. That's 2 Mutalisks a minute in basic terms, and that's going to allow Scarlett to start creeping ahead. The other problem for DaNa is Scarlett, with that +1 carapace being researched for Mutalisks, will trade a lot better up against DaNa's Mutas. That's due to bouncing glaives dealing less damage, but here we go, we do have an engagement coming down. This is earlier than Scarlett necessarily wanted it. The Muta count is similar, but the actual fighting Muta count is heavily in Scarlett's favour, as we can see there. GG is called, and Scarlett is going to take game number 1 of this best of 3.